So to get started on the skirt, we're going to grab our category 3 yarn, make a slip knot, grab our 4mm hook, and we're going to make a chain that's long enough to fit around our hips. Once we have our chain, just as a reference, mine is 34 inches, but once we have our chain, we're going to go ahead and connect it to the very first chain that we made. But before we do that, we're just going to run our finger along one side to make sure that all the ridges are facing one direction. So go ahead and insert your hook into the first loop, and then we're going to connect with a slip stitch. And then once when we're here, go ahead and chain up 3. This counts as a double crochet, and go ahead and double crochet once into every loop that we have. So once we double crocheted into every loop, now we just need to connect it, and I'm just going to show you how. Remember how we did the chain up 3 and that counted as a double crochet? Now we're just going to count up that chain 3, 1, 2, 3, insert your hook into that third chain with a slip stitch, and now you're finished with your first row. And from here, we're going to be working on the band, and I'm going to keep going until my band is either 1.5 inches or 3 rows. But all that's going to be is a chain up 3 in the beginning. That counts as a double crochet. Prepare for a double crochet, and I'm just going to double crochet once into every loop that we have. Once we meet back around, go ahead and connect with a slip stitch, and then from there, go ahead and continue with the same pattern. Once we have our 1.5 inches for the band, now we're going to do more rows of double crochet into every single loop. But for this next row, we're going to start the skirt portion. So we're going to chain up 3, prepare for a double crochet, and we're going to be putting 1 double crochet into every loop that we have, but going into the back loops only. So as you can see, we have these 2 loops here that we typically go into like that, but instead we're going to be working in the back loops so that there's a very clear line between band and skirt. So go ahead and work into the back loops only, just like this, and then the row after this, we don't have to work in the back loops only. Go ahead and do this 1 row of back loops, connect with a slip stitch, and then keep going with just regular double crochet that we normally do, and we're going to keep doing that until we get past the widest part of our hips. So I'm finished with the solid portion of the skirt, and as you can see, this is starting to taper inward a little bit. We're going to ignore this bottom half for a second, but the solid portion, I had rows 5 through 18, and that is 6 inches, and then from the bottom to the top, it's 7.5 inches in total. And then from here, I am going to make it a pencil skirt. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I am going to have it singe in a little bit towards the bottom of the skirt. And I've already done a couple rows, that's what this stuff is, but it's going to be the same for the next few rows. So when we get here, we are going to chain up 3, prepare for a double crochet, and then we're going to double crochet once into every loop that we have until we get to loop number 19. So I just did 19 double crochet, and now I'm going to do a decrease into the 20th. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the next loop, just like how we're doing a double crochet. Go ahead and yarn over, pull through. Then we're going to insert our hook into the next one. Go ahead and yarn over, pull through. We should have 4 on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 2, and we just did a decrease into the 20th loop. And then we're going to do the same thing for the rest of this round and for the row after this. So we're going to double crochet once into every loop until we get to 19, and then decrease in the 20th. So I just got done doing 2 rows of decreases where we double crocheted once into every loop and then decreased in the 20th. And then for the 3rd row in this set, we're just going to do 1 row of double crochet once into every loop that we have, no fancy stuff. So I just got done doing that set of 3 rows that I just mentioned, where the first 2 rows decreased in the 20th loops, and then the last row was just a row of double crochet. And I have done a total of 3 of those sets. And in total, from top to bottom, it is a little over 11.5 inches. And that length just goes a little past my mid-thigh, and that's perfect. And so from here, now we're going to start working on the fan detail. So from here, it's going to be very similar to the top, and if you haven't seen that already, I will have that linked in the description. But from here, we're just going to chain up 5, and then we're going to count out 4 loops. Once when you get to the 4th loop, go ahead and insert your hook with a single crochet. And then we're going to keep doing these types of loops all the way around. So I'm nearly done with my first row of loops, and I'm just going to show you guys how to finish it. So as you can see, I only have 3 loops here. If it doesn't end on the correct amount of numbers, it is totally fine. You just got to tweak it a little bit and make it work. But either way, how to end it, we're going to chain up 2. We're going to prepare for a double crochet, and then we're just going to double crochet into that loop that we have. And this is how we start off our next row. And from here, we're going to chain up another 5. We're going to do a single crochet into that first loop. And from here, we're going to prepare for a double crochet, and then we're going to double crochet 8 times into the next loop. And then once we have our 8 double crochets, we are going to single crochet into the next loop. And then we're going to do one more of these loops. So go ahead and chain up 5, and then we're going to do another fan. So prepare for a double crochet and do 8 double crochet. So all it is a fan and then a loop in between, and we're going to do that all the way around. So this is what we have so far, and as you can see, mine didn't end perfectly because we don't have this loop in between these 2 fans, but that's okay. We can just figure it out as we go along. If yours works out, then hey, good for you. But either way, we're just going to make sure that we make our way to this first fan that we did. So I'm just going to single crochet until I get there. When I get to the first loop, I'm going to chain up 4. The first 3 counts as a double crochet, and then from here we're going to prepare for a double crochet into the next loop. And then once we double crocheted once into the next loop, we're going to chain 1, double crochet into the next loop. So this is going to be a double crochet once in every loop of the fan with a chain 1 in between. Once we double crocheted once into every loop of the fan, we're going to go ahead and do a single crochet into that loop that we have in between our last fan and the next fan. So we're going to chain 1 and then single crochet into that loop. And then from here, chain 1 again, and then we're going to do that all over again. So double crochet once into every loop with a chain 1 in between, and we're going to do this all the way around. So we're nearly done with this row. We just need to connect the 2 fan expansions that we have. So this is one and this is the other, and as you can see, the fan expansions, they connect over the loop in the previous row. So from here, we're just going to insert our hook into the little loop that we have in between the 2 fan expansions, and then we're also going to insert our hook into that 3rd loop into this first fan expansion that we have. So go ahead and count up 1, 2, 3, insert your hook there, and then we're just going to yarn over, pull through that, and then pull over one more time. And then this is how we kind of evened everything out. And from here, we're going to do a row of just loops again. So we're going to chain up 5, and then we're going to count 2 of these double crochets that we have in the fan expansion. So here's 1, here's 2, and we're going to single crochet once in between that 2nd and 3rd loop. Once we have that, we're going to chain up 5 again, and then we're going to find the next 2 double crochets and go ahead and single crochet into that 2nd and 3rd loop again. Do it one more time, chain up 5, and then we're going to single crochet in between the 2nd and 3rd double crochet into the fan expansion. And from here we do have 2 more left, so we're just going to chain up 5, and from here we're going to skip this side altogether, and then we're going to count up the 2 double crochets on the next fan, and then insert our hook with a single crochet in between the 2nd and 3rd into the next fan. So we're going to have a bigger gap in between the fans, just like that. And from here, go ahead and continue doing the same thing all the way around. So as you can see, I just have 1 more loop to do. So I'm going to chain up 2, prepare for a double crochet, and I'm going to double crochet right where the first loop and the fan expansion from the previous row meet. And then once when we get here, we're going to do a chain 5, and we're going to connect it with the next loop with a single crochet, and we're going to keep doing that until we get to this big gap that we have in between the 2 fan expansions. And then now that we're here, we're actually going to start another fan. So we're going to prepare for a double crochet, and we're going to go into this big gap that we have in between our 2 fans from the previous section, and we're going to be doing 8 double crochet. And once we have our 8 double crochet, we're going to single crochet into the next loop, chain 5, single crochet into the next, and then we should be at the next gap in between our 2 fan expansions, and then go ahead and do another fan, so a set of 8 double crochet. And we're going to keep doing this same pattern as long as you want. So we're going to do row of loops, fan, fan expansion, and then we're going to keep going from there. So I just got done doing the amount of rows that I wanted to do for fans, and as you can see, I did 4 rows. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I did end on doing the fan expansions because we just have to do a row of bulbs left, and then we're done with the bottom. So how we're going to do that is that we're going to chain up 1, and then we're going to insert our hook into this first gap that we have in between these 2 double crochet with a single crochet. Then we're going to chain up 3, and from here we're just going to insert our hook back into that loop that we were just in with a single crochet, and this is a bulb. So we're just going to do this all the way around the bottom. Once we're done doing our row of bulbs, we're just going to insert our hook into that first loop and connect it with a slip stitch, and then from here go ahead and chain up 1 and cut. So one of the last things that we have to do is make a chain for the drawstring that can weave in and out of the band. And I'm just going to go ahead and make a chain that equals to about 57 inches. And once we made our chain, now we're just going to weave it in through the band. So we're going to grab the tail end of the chain and grab our tapestry needle or a hook, doesn't matter what you have. And from here, we're just going to insert our needle in through anywhere. So go ahead and insert it, and then we're going to be going under 3 and then over 3. And we're going to keep doing this around the entirety of the band. So this is what it looks like once we've woven in our drawstring, and the last thing that we have to do here is weave in our ends. This skirt was a doozy to make, but this is what it looks like once you've woven in all the ends and you are all done. I was also thinking about making a matching peasant top to match. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, because I'm not sure yet. But if y'all make this piece, be sure to tag me on both Instagram and Twitter, both at TCDDIY, because I'd love to see what y'all do. And if you haven't already, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And if y'all have any questions about the yarn or the hooks, those links will be in the description as well. And if you use those links, that also helps out the channel. But either way, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.